So I hate covering the Golden Globes just because they're awards that I just don't see as particularly important. They're not really indicators for much. However, I saw so much of the controversy going along online about this year's Golden Globe nominations, and I have to be fully honest, I don't get it. I actually kind of like this year's Golden Globe nominations, and I think it's starting to show some of the trends that I've been prognosticating this award season. So I'm actually going to do something. I've seen some of the awards for the Golden Globes. I haven't actually taken a full deep dive of it. I am going to be breaking down and looking into all of them, only focusing in on the movies. And then after that, I will be sharing the what's it called? I will be sharing my best picture rankings, which I accidentally had on screen there for a second. But that's what we're going to be talking about today. So let's react to the Golden Globes. And let's just kind of start with, I guess, some of the categories and what is seemingly perceived snubs. And again, I'm doing a lot of this off the top of my head, but we will see. So, Best Motion Picture Drama. The 2025 nominees are A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, Nickel Boys, September 5, and The Brutalist. So obviously, I think the big snub here, as a lot of people are indicating, is Sing Sing from A24. And yeah, no, The Brutalist is here. So this movie went snubbed. And I'm assuming Baby Girl gets snubbed here because I don't think it'd be considered a comedy by any means. But let's just kind of look at this real quick. Of these movies on the list, I have A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Dune Part 2, and The Brutalist making my top 10 predictions for this year's Oscars. Sing Sing obviously missing out. Nickel Boy is right on the cusp for me as well. And I'm assuming this means they nominated Wicked for comedy slash musical and didn't do the whole thing where they're like, oh, well, actually, we want to put it in the drama category. So no huge surprises. These are six films that three of them I've seen. Two of them I've seen. I've seen Conclave. I've seen Dune Part 2. I'm hoping that I know for a fact I'll be seeing September 5 this week. And I will be seeing Nickel Boys and A Complete Unknown within the first or the next 10 days. So subscribe to this channel if you want to see reviews on all those movies coming up. Sing Sing, I've been kind of saying it the whole time. And I know it's been causing some controversy with people. If you want Sing Sing to get nominated, specifically I'm talking to A24 here, and you want like Clarence Malkin to get a nomination for Sing Sing for Best Supporting Actor, like release your movie. And I know some people are like, well, what they're doing, I keep hearing it in my comments or slash when I'm on any of these subreddits where they're talking about Oscar race, the Oscar race subreddit. Like I keep hearing people respond to my comments of essentially like, well, they're doing the whole ramp up thing, like they're bringing back the press this month, like they're hyping it up now. Think like what they did with the Zone of Interest last year. And I get that. I actually do get that argument. But here's my counterpoint. So, for those who are not aware of the context, last year we had the film The Zone of Interest, which also came out from A24, get into the Best Picture race, as did the film Past Lives. Now, The Zone of Interest was this movie that a lot of people, the closer we got to the awards season, people are like, oh, this film is probably not going to get a ton of nominations. Not enough people have seen it. Not enough people are talking about it. It's being snubbed in a few major other precursors. Like, what is this movie actually going to become? And then the actual award ceremony happened, the nominations happened, and The Zone of Interest actually performed quite well in nominations and also got a handful of wins. So I think people stopped doubting, I should say, A24. I don't think that's the case this year with the film Sing Sing. I think you could make that argument that is The Brutalist, that is the critical darling of The Brutalist, that has this epic scope to it, real just huge direction, like this whole thesis for America. Sing Sing is not that. That is this indie sensation. I really do compare this more to like a film like Past Lives last year, which also came out during the summer. And my thing is like, I think A24 could run two of these campaigns where it's like last second, like we're going to make the push at the end. But that's not what Sing Sing is. They're kind of haphazard on it. Like They're like, we'll release it in the summer for some people, but not everyone. But like, it will be in a lot of major cities. I think it had like 300 screens or so. And then we're like not going to talk about it till December. Like, that's a really bizarre release strategy. Like, this isn't festival screenings. This was like, oh no, you could see it, and then you could kind of just forget about it. I just don't understand the strategy for Sing Sing. I still don't have it getting into my best picture race. So, is it a snub? Again, I can't speak because I haven't seen the movie. Let me see the movie soon. Best motion picture, musical, or comedy. We have A Real Pain, Anora, Challengers, Emilia Perez, The Substance, and Wicked. So I think this is about as standard of a lineup as you can have. I have A Real Pain making my Oscar list. I have Anora. I have Emilia Perez. So those are three guaranteed. Oh, and obviously I have Wicked. And then I may have The Substance. We'll talk about that in a second. But so anyway, with that all said, like I don't see nothing's popping off to me as wrong here. I'm trying to think if there's any movies that like instantly where I'm like music or a comedy. Like I guess like I know Deadpool had done it I think in 2016 like you got this one like were they really going to give it to this film? I mean, it wouldn't have been the most shocking, but this is like pretty six big films. If you are calling the Golden Globes, which I often do, just like a celebrity, like the Golden Globes wants celebrities at their Oscars, like they were obviously always going to nominate Zendaya there. They'll get Selena Gomez out of Emilia Perez, Demi Moore for The Substance, Ariana Grande for Wicked. Like Anora, like doesn't really have anyone, but it's the big critical darling of this year. Like it's the film that's going to possibly slash maybe probably win Best Picture. Like they want to have that film there, and then Culkin and Eisenberg for Real Pain, like another critical darling. Like it's hard to look at this list and think oh, they got this one wrong. I'm not really seeing anything that they got wrong in this best motion picture, musical, or comedy. I think this is a pretty solid six film lineup. Animated picture, this one's weird just because there's six versus the Academy Awards, which has five. But I mean, these are the six everyone's talking about. Flow, Inside Out 2, Memoir of a Snail, Moana 2, The Wild Robot, Wallace and Gromit, Vengeance Most Foul. I know for a fact I will be seeing Flow this week at some point. So check out a review on this channel for that later. So subscribe if you're interested at all for that. Uh, Out of that, I've seen four out of the six. Wallace and Gromit is going to be premiering end of this month, so I'll have a review out for that probably first week of January would be my guess, which is very annoying to me because that means it probably won't be done in time for my cutoff of the best 10 movies of the year when I make my video about that. So I don't think this film will be accessible in the US until January 3rd unless I get an early screener. So if you're listening, studio, send me an early screener so I can possibly get this in my top 10 best. And I mean, it's Wallace and Gromit, so I'm hopeful it can get on there. So, best motion picture animated, these are the six films. Like Moana choose definitely the less of them. Uh, and I will be seeing Flow this week, and I'm very excited. I've heard it's really good, and it seems like it actually might be getting momentum to be the winner of this category, but we will see. But I can highly suggest Inside Out 2, The Wild Robot, and I liked Memoir of a Snail despite having some hesitancy. So this is a really good lineup shaping out. Best Motion Picture Non-English Language. Again, these are kind of the categories. All We Imagine Is Light, Emilia Perez, I'm Still Here, The Girl with the Needle, The Seed of the Sacred Fig, and Vermiglulia. Vermiglulia. I'm not familiar with this last film. I'm sorry. I've heard of the other five. Again, let me see. Is there anything that's standing out particularly? Emilia Perez was obviously going to be there from fans. All We Imagine Is Light was obviously going to be there. We knew I'm Still Here was going to be there. Seed of the Sacred Fig. Like these are again the big titles in here. It's nice to see I'm Still Here, which again has been a big topic of conversation on my YouTube comments. So I'm listening to, I'm waiting to see this movie as well. I'm eagerly anticipating it, but it's definitely making some waves. So that's good. So again, not much to react. I don't see anything particularly wrong with this category off the top. Best performance by a female actor in a motion picture drama. We have Angelina Jolie, Maria. We have Fernanda Torres for I'm Still Here. We have Kate Winslet for Lee. We have Nicole Kidman for Baby Girl. We have Pamela Anderson for The Last Showgirl. And we have Tilda Swinton for The Room Next Door. So this one's a fascinating one because obviously that means that some of the heavy hitters in this field are going to be in the comedy slash musical this year. I mean, for sure, I would assume they're going to have oh my gosh, sorry, Cynthia Revo for Wicked in there. They'll probably have Carla Sofia Gascon for Emilia Perez, and then they'll have oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the Mikey Madison for Nora there. Off the top of my head, again, this is where it's like, what does the Golden Globes really mean? Because this is 12 actresses in the leading. Like, I could tell you these are probably going to be the 12. Off the top of my head, it does seem that Fernanda Torres is gaining some momentum. Kate Winslet, I have been like a little shy on her getting it. Pamela Anderson, that's a very Golden Globes pick. Tilda Swinton, I'm curious if that means Julianne Moore doesn't make it or if they're counting her as a supporting actress. Nicole Kidman, I think they said, has now become one of the most rewarded actors with Baby Girl coming out. And then Angelina Jolie, which again, she's one of the most famous people. And I was curious if some of the controversy around the end of her marriage with Brad Pitt was going to cause some issues, especially as Hollywood has been very loving of Brad Pitt. Doesn't seem to right now for the Golden Globes. So that's nice to see. I will be seeing Maria, I think, next week. So I'm not seeing anything that's standing out as a snub. Maybe after this video is done, I will go through and actually try looking at some of the snubs that people perceive. Best performance by a male actor in a motion picture drama. We got Adrian Brody, The Brutalist. We got Coleman Domingo, Sing Sing. We got Daniel Craig, Queer. We have Ray Fiennes, Conclave. We have Sebastian Stan. That's awesome. The Apprentice. And we have Chalamet, A Complete Unknown. I mean, I've kind of been arguing the fact that I think Chalamet should be allowed to get nominated twice for Dune Part 2 and A Complete Unknown, but if you're only nominating him for one, it seems that they are campaigning him for A Complete Unknown. This is the list. I mean, these are going to end up being in some order, I think we have our best actor race here. And it's the question of who are the five. Now, right now, I'm saying it's Brody. I'm saying it's Domingo. I'm saying it's Fiennes. I'm saying it's Chalamet. Who am I missing? So, who are the top three? It's Brody, Chalamet, Fiennes. Oh, Craig Domingo, I guess would be my list. And then Stan is on the sixth looking in. I'm really glad that they nominated The Apprentice. I really hope this is momentum for Sebastian Stan to get the Oscar nomination. I've been very hesitant to say anything on The Apprentice anymore. With the new administration coming out, I don't think the Oscars is going to go for the controversy of Donald Trump right now, but maybe I'm wrong. And I hope they do, because it shouldn't matter a political bias of a film slash how people feel about an administration or anything like this. The Apprentice is the work, and it's a great film, and it's a brave performance from Sebastian Stan. I hope to see it more rewarded as the ceremony goes on. Best performance by a female actor in a musical picture, musical or comedy. Let's see what we got here. We got Amy Adams, Night Bitch. We got Cynthia Erivo, Wicked. We got Demi Moore, The Substance. We got Carla Sofia Gascon, Emilia Perez. We got Mikey Madison, Anora, and we have Zendaya. Challengers, that means for sure, and she wouldn't have been in this category. She would have been in the drama, but I didn't notice it. Saoirse Ronan is out for drama, which, again, this is the case of I don't really care that she misses. I hope she misses for Blitz, too. In fact, I actually know she misses for Blitz. Pick better movies next time. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's just not her filmography hasn't been interesting recently, and I thought she was pretty dull in both The Outrun and Blitz. I'll be seeing Amy Adams and Night Bitch this week. Erivo obviously makes sense. Demi Moore, manifesting this becomes an Oscar nomination. Here's my hot take. If she can get into the Oscar nomination, I think she could win. I think it'd be between her and Mikey Madison, but I think she is in that race. Carla Sofia Gascon, I believe this makes her the first transgender actress to get a nomination at the Golden Globes. So that's cool. Hopefully we see that repeated at the Oscars, because I think the work is there for her. Mikey Madison, Anora, and then obviously Zendaya. Challengers. That's the star power of Zendaya in this category, because truthfully, I thought she was good in this movie. She's more of a movie star than an actress in this movie, and I don't mind her being a movie star. I think she's a great movie star. But let's see. Of this, I think Madison, Sophia, Demi Moore, and Erivo are real contenders for the Oscar nomination as well. So I'm not seeing anything that's shocking to me on this list either. I think that's a pretty good list of actresses. Best performance by male actor in a musical or sorry, in a motion picture, musical, or comedy. We have Gabriel LaBelle for Saturday Night. We have Glenn Powell for Hitman, who's the one I'm kind of rooting for. We have Hugh Grant for which Heretic. Is that a comedy or musical? He has some dark sense of humor, I guess, in that movie. I wouldn't really call that movie a comedy. Jesse Eisenberg for Real Pain, Jesse Plemons for Kinds of Kindness, and Sebastian Stan, double nominee for A Different Man. That's cool. This is a really good list of actors here. Jesse Plemons in Kinds of Kindness. He's really good in this movie that I really vehemently disliked. So I'll just kind of leave it there. It's it's weird how they just use some character or they use some what's it called? Why is it they use some portraits and then some stills from movies? That's a little weird. Uh Probably the only real nomination Saturday Night will get. Maybe it will get musical or comedy film as well. No, actually, I'm pretty sure I missed out on that one. So I'm hoping for Glenn Powell in this category. I think that'd be the most fun. I want to see him anointed in this way. Sebastian Stan getting in is cool. Jesse Eisenberg getting in is cool. Yeah, this is a good list of nominees as well. Best performance by female actor in a supporting role in any motion picture. We have Ariana Grande, Wicked. We have Felicity Jones, The Brutalist. We have Isabella Rossellini, Conclave. Margaret Qualley for The Substance. I'm hoping that's signs for good to come. Selena Gomez, Emilia Perez, Zoe Saldana, Emilia Perez. So we'll talk about this in my best picture ranking, but I think some of us, and personally, I think I overreacted to the Emilia Perez backlash. I think this film is safe to get a lot of nominations. Uh, who stands out? Because I think these are probably all the six that are really going to be in contention for this. Oh, here's the one that's obviously snubbed: Danielle Deadwyler for The Piano Lesson. The Piano Lesson is not catching on. It's not going anywhere. It seems DOA, to be honest. Not enough people are seeing it. The people who have seen it, which I saw it and reviewed on this channel, like I wasn't that impressed with it. Like I know it has its fans. There's certainly artistry in this movie, and there's good performances, and there's a lot to like in it. It's just not. It doesn't come together. And to be honest, I didn't really care about the Deadweiler performance that much. I'm sorry. Is that controversial to say? I don't know. With that all said, like this is going to be interesting. I think right now the race is between Grande and Saldana. I think Selena Gomez was always going to be there. I thought the star power of her was real. I will just say straight up, I hope this means more to come with quality. I think if the Substance Over performs and you see like a director get in at the Oscars and you get to see quality, like I think that bodes very well for Demi Moore's chances for winning Best Actress. Best performance by an actor in a supporting role in a motion picture. We have Denzel Washington, Gladiator 2, Edward Norton, A Complete Unknown, Guy Pearce, The Brutalist, my favorite of these, Jeremy Strong, The Apprentice, Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain, Yora Borisov for Anora. So I've already laid my hands on the table. Like if I had to see anybody win, like Jeremy Strong would be my favorite. He's so good in The Apprentice. But this is a really good list of actors. I've seen everyone except Norton and Pierce. It feels like this is Culkin's to win this year, but I don't know. All I really want to see is Jeremy Strong to get into this race in the Oscars. That would be my favorite one. I'm trying to think if I feel like people were saying Stanley Tucci was snubbed for Conclave. I didn't feel like that way watching the movie. Like he's really good in that movie, but I don't know if I would go out of my way to call it a snub. Best director motion picture. Weird that they don't have pictures for this. We have Brady Corbett for The Brutalist. We have Coralie Farge for The Substance. We have Edward Berger for Conclave. We have Audiard for Emilia Perez. Yake Audiard. I can never pronounce his first name correctly. Payal Kapadia for All We Imagine Is Light, and Sean Baker for Anora. The Pio one is interesting. I wasn't really suspecting that at all. So who's that mean? The two ones that got left off were the big directors for big movies, which is Denis Villeneuve for Dune Part Two, and then John M. Chu I'm sorry, for Wicked. Duh. Uh, is Denis Villeneuve gonna miss out on the Oscars? He missed out the first time around, and is this gonna be a Return of the King all over again, where Dune Part Two is now perceived as the Two Towers? I don't know. I'm losing more and more faith as Dune Part Two goes along. As the season goes along, I'm losing faith in Dune Part Two. I think the issue they're running into is maybe it was good for the box office, like it really gave uh, a jump start to this year with Dune Part Two. Hard thing to be in the race from March on. I think if this movie came out like now, I think it'd be like guaranteed best picture, best director. Like it'd have a ton of nominations right now. I just think it's hard to keep that momentum going on. Best screenplay, motion picture, Freddie Corbett, Mona Festival, The Brutalist, Corlage Farge for The Substance, which is awesome. So glad to see The Substance performing everywhere. Audio art for Emilia Perez, Jesse Eisenberg, Real Pain, Peter Strahan for Conclave, and Sean Baker, Anora. Not seeing anything particularly shocking except that Sing Sing missed. That's, I think, probably the biggest of the misses that I see just off the top of my head. So these are, again, really good nominations, and probably a lot of them will happen. It doesn't seem that they're splitting it between adapted and original. So obviously that makes this race a little hard to tell. But a good list. And again, I really hope this means positive stuff for Farge's feature. In the meantime, best original score. Emilia Perez, The Brutalist, Dune Part 2, The Wild Robot, Challengers, Conclave. Nothing stands out to me as missing, but it is cool to see Reznor and Atticus Ross here for Challengers. Best original song, motion picture. Okay, this is actually an interesting one. So Miley Cyrus has The Beautiful That Way from The Last Showgirl. We have Challengers, Reznor. We have El Ma for Emilia Perez. Better Man has apparently a film or a song in it. Kiss the Sky from The Wild Robot. Me, Camino, and Emilia Perez. I don't care about this category. I hope of all these, I hope it's either. I haven't heard the Miley Cyrus song yet, so that could. I really do like Miley Cyrus. They are having so many celebrity stars under like that specific age range that could get an audience. You got Zendaya, you got Selena Gomez, uh you got Miley Cyrus will be there, you got Ariana Grande. Like this is essentially the Grammys, and the Golden Globes loves that. Cinematic and box office achievement. We have Alien Romulus, Beetlejuice, Deadpool and Wolverine, Gladiator 2, Inside Out, The Wild Robot, Twisters, and Wicked. Don't really know what to make out of this besides the fact that this is a made up award. But also it's weird that Dune Part 2 wasn't even submitted by the studio. I guess they were trying to say this is a serious film, but like put it in, like just get your film some recognition. Like I find it weird, but cutting back to me, let's just cut back to me real quick. So those are the nominations. And actually, let's do something before I cut back to me. Golden Globe snubs. Let's see what people are saying. So we're going to use this Vulture article. Yeah, voters took The Substance and loved it. Agreed, that seemed to be a trend. Emilia Perez performed well. Hard Truth for Marion Jean Baptiste. Uh, Again, and they pointed out here in this article, Globe's membership features zero overlap with the Academy. And I just don't think Marion Jean Baptiste was a really strong contender to be a Golden Globe nomination. Like, we just talked about the star power and what the Golden Globes is trying to do and essentially be a really popular television show with the most famous of actors and actresses there. Like, I don't think this means much to Marion Jean Baptiste. Like, I don't feel any differently of her chances of getting in. If she got in, like, then I'd say, yeah, her stock's definitely rising. But I don't think means anything. Danielle Deadwyler was left out again. Here's the thing that I kept thinking about, because I kept hearing like people complain about this list, and they were saying essentially the lines of like, oh, the Golden Globes is going to be the Golden Globes. Like, they nominated films like The Substance. Like Emilia Perez is another film that I wasn't as high on, but it's like it's a interesting experimental piece of art. Like Anora, like Daniel Deadwyler in The Piano Lesson is kind of convention. Like this is kind of the Oscar bait type feeling, and I don't want to label it Oscar bait because it's not that. It's a better film than that, but it's also like this is the type of film that feels like it would have been nominated 10 years ago. Like there is a growingness from, I believe, the voting bodies where they're willing to recognize more specific odder pieces of art. And I think Danielle Deadwyler might be a victim of that. And I think that's why the piano lesson is struggling to resonate. Saoirse Ronan's not her year. Like, yeah, I typically agree. I just don't think either of the films she was in was good. And I hope Sebastian Stan, as they kind of mentioned, who ended up getting two, like I kind of hope like we might see something similar at the Oscars. He would only get in for one, but like I'd love to see him get in for really either A Different Man or The Apprentice. I'd prefer The Apprentice to get in, but if he got in for A Different Man, that's awesome too. Pamela Anderson and Kate Winslet joined the Best Actress party. I don't think that's a shock in any way. Sing Sing met with scattered applause. Like, again, I've been kind of, I already gave my thoughts on it. Dune is not doing great. Yeah, yeah, again, this is also the weird thing of why didn't they nominate it for it? From my understanding, it sounds like the studio did not put up Dune Part 2 for it. Which again, you can then maybe the studio's logic here is we don't want it to be seen as this type of film, like it's more than that. Like, true, but also just it's the Golden Globe. Just get yourself a nomination. Love for challengers. Again, I Golden Globes are going to Golden Globes, and I think the star power of Zendaya is a lot, but it's certainly, and I mean, the Trent Reznor stuff is like great in the movie as well. Like, if we saw like someone like Luca Guadagnino get in for director and like this film overperformed, but ultimately it got the ones that was going to get. So that's all they have. And then I don't care about the television stuff. So let's jump back to me. So that is the Golden Globes reactions. And before I leave, I want to just hit a few other things real quick. I wanted to hit specifically, let's talk about, oops, let me add to stage. Here we go. Sorry. Always have to remember. Let's talk about, and I didn't update the title. It says Best Pick Top 10 chart. This should now read because I updated the list today, December 9th, 2024. But let's talk about what the race is at this moment. And these are the 10 as I have them, and we'll talk about what's changed and what hasn't. Number one and number two have stood still. Anora, Wicked, I think they're the one and two spot right now. I still think if the awards was to happen today, I think Anora wins. Here's what jumped up though. Number three, we had a jump. Emilia Perez, Netflix. It was originally at number 5 on November 21st. I jumped it up to number 3. I overreacted to the backlash. And I'm not saying, again, I don't think the Golden Globes are necessarily like all that accurate or mean that much, but I do think they're showing some industry support. Don't know if you saw it. Denis Villeneuve listed, I think, his 5 favorite films of this year. He had Emilia Perez on there. Like, I do think there is respect from it. And it doesn't really matter if critics don't respect it as highly. I just think this is going to be a film that gets in. Conclave moved down one just solely for the reason that I put Emilia Perez back there. I don't think Conclave really changed all that much. Number 5, The Brutalist. I dropped it down 2. I had it originally at number 3. I actually think this one's still fine, and I also don't think it's a big deal that it dropped down to 5. This is probably the case of in like 2 weeks when people really get to see The Brutalist more and more, it will probably be back up to either 3, 4. Like it's just the momentum of the race. It's still going to get a nomination by all accounts. A Real Pain jumped up just from the 7 to 6 solely for the reason that like nothing's coming out to really like disprove my belief that A Real Pain feels solidly in this race. I'm not seeing anything. Everything else around it is either kind of dropping in some way. So A Real Pain's just kind of holding steady, and that's holding steady allowed it to jump up to number 6. Number 7, this one dropped down 1, which allowed A Real Pain to jump up to number 6. At number 7, I have Dune Part 2, Warner Bros. As the award ceremony goes on, the less and less I feel confident about it. Now, I still kind of think my top 7 are almost guaranteed, but it's just the longer and longer it goes, the more and more I have questions about Dune Part 2. That's all it is, and the Golden Globes didn't alleviate any of my questions on it. Number 8, I have A Complete Unknown, which comes from Searchlight Pictures. This jumped up too. I had it at number 10. Now that it's getting to be seen, now that the reviews are seemingly positive, I have it at number 8. Here's my bold prediction, and I put it on a subreddit yesterday, the Oscar race subreddit. Declaring it Sunday, December 8th. I am declaring Timothée Chalamet will win his Best Actor for A Complete Unknown. That's my bold prediction for this season. We'll see if I end up being wrong, but right now, as of December, I'm calling the race for Timothée Chalamet. Sight unseen. Haven't seen the film yet. just he has all the momentum. He's in two of these big films with a complete unknown with Dune Part Two. Beloved actor, like he really has a shine. And this is a category that is friendly for performances like Bob Dylan biopic. Number 9, Blitz. I can't get Blitz off this list. I know everything is suggesting that it should no longer be on the top 10, including me seeing the film. It was just like, this is by far not one of the best 10 films of this year. So I should just remove it. The international voting body still has me a little worried, and I'm just like, this film's probably going to perform well with the BAFTAs. Like, I don't know. I still, and it's like a hesitant thing where I'm just like, I don't really want to support this film. Like, it'd be kind of cool to bump up either Sing Sing or Nickel Boys onto this list, or re-put Gladiator 2. But like, ultimately, I'm kind of just in the belief that the Academy will be the Academy and they'll go for Blitz, which is I'm gonna label it's pure Oscar bait to me. Number 10, this one's new and this one's exciting, and maybe this is me just trying to manifest something. I have the substance from the studio movie hitting this top 10 list. I think the Golden Globes is all just positive momentum for it, for one that I was already felt was like maybe on the cusp somewhere between 11 to 15. Like, I don't know if it will actually stay. I don't know if this is real, but right now I think the momentum is in its favor for the next few weeks. We'll see how it ends up being once we get closer to January. On the outside looking in, I have number 11, Sing Sing, which definitely had some positive momentum with some of the critic groups. Uh, but it's the Golden Globes things I kind of thought seemed a little predictable. Nickel Boys number 12, which I think is actually legitimately a chance. And then Gladiator 2. Let's see. It looks like Room Next Door. Oops, sorry. All that. So like the usual contenders, I think Nosferatu is one that I'm still looking out for and could maybe be a surprise. But with that all said, that's the race at this point, and I hope you guys liked me reacting to the Golden Globe nominations. So thank you all for watching this video. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more.